The moment she said it, the world seemed to freeze. "You've seen everything. Take responsibility." My heart dropped into my stomach. Those words hit harder than any accusation I'd ever heard because they carried disappointment, fear, and something deeper, hurt. I wanted to laugh it off. I wanted to defend myself. Instead, all I could manage was a weak, panicked reply. "I just put ointment, I swear." And in that awkward, confusing moment, I learned how kindness can completely change a life. Before we begin, if you enjoy emotional, real-life inspired stories about kindness, second chances, and human connection, please subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. It really helps the channel grow. You're watching your channel name, and your support means everything. I wasn't supposed to be there that afternoon. It was one of those days when life felt too heavy, so I drove without a plan. I ended up on a quiet country road, the kind with white fences and tall trees that look like they've been standing there forever. The air smelled like grass and summer dust. That's when I saw her. She stood near a small farmhouse, one hand brushing through her hair, the other resting on her hip. She looked calm, but there was tension in her eyes. Beside her was a teenage boy, maybe 16, staring at the ground, clearly embarrassed. I slowed down, unsure why. Maybe curiosity, maybe instinct, maybe kindness knocking softly before you even realize it. The boy had fallen earlier, scraped his arm badly on a rusty fence. I'd seen it happen from a distance. He tried to act tough, but the blood and pain told a different story. His mother, because I later learned she was his mom, was worried but trying not to panic. I had a small first aid kit in my car. Nothing fancy, just bandages, wipes, and ointment. I walked over and offered help. She hesitated. Americans are polite but cautious, especially when a stranger steps into a personal moment. But then she nodded. "That would be nice," she said quietly. I cleaned the wound carefully. The boy winced, then relaxed. I applied ointment, wrapped it up, and stepped back. Simple. Ordinary. Or so I thought. That's when she looked at me, eyes serious, and said those words. "You've seen everything. Take responsibility." I froze. My brain raced. Responsibility for what? The injury? The moment? Her son? My presence suddenly felt heavy, like I'd crossed some invisible line. I blurted out the only thing I could think of. "I just put ointment, I swear." The boy snorted despite himself. She didn't smile right away. Instead, she studied me, then sighed. "I didn't mean it like that," she said. "I meant, you saw how scared he was, how I was. Most people just drive by." That's when it hit me. She wasn't accusing me, she was acknowledging me. We sat on the wooden steps of the farmhouse porch. The boy went inside, pretending not to listen. She told me her name was Laura, a single mom. Her husband had passed away 3 years earlier. Heart attack, no warning, no goodbye. Since then, she said, it feels like everything is on me. Being strong, being calm, being enough. Her voice cracked just a little. She quickly brushed her hair back, like she could hide the emotion with the motion. I listened. That was all I did. No advice, no fixing, just listening. She told me how her son tried to act grown-up since his dad died, how he didn't like showing pain, how that fall scared her more than she wanted to admit. When you stopped, she said, it reminded me that not everyone is in a hurry, that some people still care. I felt something warm in my chest. I hadn't done anything heroic, no grand gesture, just a small act of kindness. But to her, it mattered. A few weeks passed. Life moved on, or so I thought. One evening, I stopped at a local grocery store after work. I was tired, annoyed, stuck in my own head. At the checkout, my card declined. Embarrassing. I checked my account, unexpected charge earlier that day. Before I could say anything, the cashier smiled awkwardly. The line behind me sighed. Then I heard a familiar voice. I've got it. I turned around. It was Laura. She paid for my groceries like it was nothing. I tried to refuse. She shook her head. You helped my son, she said. You helped me breathe that day. We walked outside together. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. Her son waited in the car, arm fully healed. You didn't have to, I said. I wanted to, she replied. Kindness isn't a debt, it's a circle. Over time, we started talking more. Coffee turned into long conversations turned into shared laughs. Not romance at first. Healing doesn't rush, it takes its time. She told me something one night that stayed with me. After my husband died, she said, I felt invisible, like the world moved on without noticing I was still hurting. That day you stopped. I felt seen. I realized then how powerful kindness really is. It's not loud. It doesn't announce itself. Sometimes it looks like ointment on a scraped arm. Sometimes it's just staying instead of walking away. Months later, her son asked me to help him fix his bike. I laughed, thinking about that first awkward meeting. He smiled and said, You're the ointment guy, right? Life has a funny way of connecting moments. That sentence, take responsibility, took on a new meaning. Responsibility isn't about blame, it's about presence, about choosing to care when you don't have to. In America, we're taught independence. Handle your own problems. Don't bother others. But kindness reminds us that we're allowed to lean on each other. I didn't change their lives in some dramatic way. They didn't change mine overnight either. But we softened each other's edges. And that's what kindness does. It doesn't fix everything. It makes everything a little more bearable. So the next time you see someone struggling, don't overthink it. You don't need the perfect words or a big plan. Sometimes all it takes is stopping, listening, helping in the smallest way. Because you never know who's waiting to feel seen, and you never know how one small act of kindness can come back to you exactly when you need it most. If this story touched your heart, carry it forward. Be the person who stops. Be the person who listens. Spread kindness, because the world could always use a little more ointment for its wounds.